What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Arce, and welcome back to another episode of the GSD Show. I'm here with Zach Lucas of .fit, and today we're going to talk about how you can create additional long-term revenue, improve retention, and how to give your customers what they really need.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. This podcast is sponsored by Causely. Causely helps fitness businesses get new members while giving back. We've partnered with Causely to give back to kids in need with this podcast, and here's how you can get involved. Each time you review this podcast on iTunes or share the episode post on Facebook, a meal will be provided to a child in need. It's that easy. Everyday actions can make a difference. Thank you for helping us give back, and to learn more about how Causely can help you grow your business, visit Causely.com. Again, that's Causely, spelled Causely.com. All right, everybody. So thanks so much for tuning in again. Whether you're listening on iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play, or whether you're watching on YouTube, thank you. And today I'm here with Zach Lucas. For everybody that's watching and listening, you're going to get a lot out of this episode because there's a lot of things that Zach has learned along the way. But in this particular episode, we're going to talk about how you can actually get additional revenue and profits from your already existing members without having to charge them more per month, which is something that I think too many fitness studios are not doing. And then we're going to talk about how to make sure that you can create more conversations based around the right things with them regularly so that you can improve retention rates, because that's something that you've gotten really great at as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, so let's get started. First, so people know where you are and what you're doing, what is .fit and what does .fit do?
So .fit has two platforms, two arms of our company. Number one, we are an evidence-based nutrition company that has software that integrates with gym owners and studio owners, and we're a platform for them to interact 100% with their member on nutritional plans, nutritional play, giving them all the macronutrients that they're going to need, protein, fats, carbs, and then being able to track that and interact with that 24 hours a day via the web.
So you've built over 60 studios already.
Currently, yes, and we're contracted, freelance is contracted to do about 15 to 20 more currently right now.
Okay, so there's a lot of experience back here, guys, so this is going to be a great episode. So why is it so important, and I shouldn't say so important, but why is it such a great idea for fitness studios to start providing certain things that are additional to the membership, like supplements and waters and shirts and all that stuff?
Sure. So there's two real enemies that I talk about. I think there's a third new enemy to the studio for the ownership of studios. Number one enemy that you guys will face is non-use. Non-use of the studio. A member comes in, they pays your retail rate, and then they don't use that studio. Number two enemy that I have found is no results. If they are using the studio and your services and or your product, but they're not finding that they're getting the results that they're looking for, obviously and clearly there's another problem. And within those two, what we find is that .fit adding a solution not only helps you to solve that problem, but it also brings kind of secondary revenue along the way as well, which really becomes nutritional counseling and or sessions that you're either selling. Some people are putting their nutrition into an add-on into the membership, so bringing more value to the membership. Some people are charging. Some studios we would recommend to charge an additional fee based on the nutrition counseling that they're going to be giving. Right. And then based on all of that interaction with your member, now you have your evidence-based, third-party tested supplement line that you're going to be making recommendations for based on what they're eating. And this all circles around non-use and no results. Mm-hmm. So we know one of the number one enemies to getting results is their diet. It's their food. And so if studio owners were often honest about how much nutrition they actually are doing inside their company, we would probably see a little less of an answer than we would like to see.
Right.
And that's where we believe that retention.
Well, because it's very time consuming, especially if you have 200 members, if you have 300 members. It's very time consuming, and it becomes almost deflating if you realize half of those members aren't implementing.
Yep.
Right?
Very difficult. It's very challenging. And that's one of the things that we talk to about when we do our freelance side and we bring .fit in, and .fit does that counseling. Sometimes, like for my studios, I'll give you an example. When you come in to work out at our studio, we have a software system on their phone that they would just show, and they have their scan tag in this hand, scan in, I'm standing at the front desk, I'm looking at your day. All I'm looking at your day is to see is how many total calories you've burned, how many total calories you've taken in. Boom, Mike, good job, knuckle bump, see you in class. Yeah. Just that accountability with nutrition right there tells me one of two things. You're doing a good job on track today, or some of my clients will come in with zero logging. They have zero logging. And I say, oh, great job. Oh, no knuckle bump. No knuckle bump for Mike today. But I'll see you at the end of class. Okay, right. And then that interaction that we're going to have is going to be about, Mike, you know, and I know that you're working very, very hard in my studio, and you're doing all the things, and your workouts are great. Unfortunately, every 30 days, another tidbit on retention is measuring every single one of your clients every 30 days. On that 30-day mark, we discussed you aren't getting results. So if they're not getting results, then it really most likely, and they're working out the way that we're training, it probably comes down to the food component.
What's up, everybody? Zach is giving away an awesome free swipe for all GSD Show listeners and viewers, and it's his .fit Studio Kit, which includes 1 month free subscription, $100 of supplements, and so much more. You gotta check this out, and if you want to get the .fit Studio Kit, go to thegsdshow.com/E054. Again, that's thegsdshow.com/E054. Thanks, and back to the episode.
And so that's where I advise most of my studios to start implementing some really good accountability and good practices. And yes, I do know it's more work. It's more work for the studio and the trainer.
But you get paid more than the alternative, right? So the alternative is this person, let's call her Jane, can join a big box gym where they have classes just like yours. They have the yoga, they have the Pilates, they have the bar, and some of them are doing it really nice now. Some of them are literally building studios within their gyms, Absolutely. Right? We talked about that. And so, but the difference is for them at their price points, they're not really doing a lot of that, and so they pay a little bit more to have that middle ground. Okay, I'm not on my own, thrown into the jungle here of all this equipment, not knowing what to do. I'm not on my own here, but I don't also have the high expense of a personal trainer. I kind of got something in the middle where I do have accountability. I have people that know who I am, that know when I haven't been in a while, and that know what my goal is, and, and if I've been moving along in the right direction. But nutrition is one of those things that everybody in the fitness industry, I just had a whole episode about it in the last episode, everybody knows that it's 80% or more of what's going to impact your results, but yet it's not 80% of what's being spent on your members isn't nutrition, it's the workouts, if not more than 80%.
And that's where they will see the ancillary revenue that you're talking about.
Right.
I never really take it from the approach of finances, that, hey, install this because this is going to make you more money, which it will, but I install it because I know that I can get my clients better results, longer lasting results, and if I'm building a brand or a business, I want that brand and business to be retention. I want retention to go high. Right. So I want my attrition low, and by doing that, I know that if I'm getting clients results and I'm interacting, it's all about the member experience. So what is that experience that they feel? And sometimes I think what's happened with some of the studios, not all, but a lot of the studios have had all the right intentions, and then it ends up becoming just high five workout, high five workout, high five workout. The challenge is where do you progress from there? Right. Is it the workouts just get harder and harder? I mean, do we add more equipment? At some point in time, you're not going to outwork my diet. So one thing that I know that trainers, I teach all across the country, and I would ask trainers this in every state that I go to. What's the number one key component in their results? They all say nutrition. They all say about 60, 70, 80% of nutrition, right? Mm-hmm. And then I ask a follow-up question. How much time do you spend with your client on nutrition? And that answer is never 60, 70, 80%.
No, it's almost flip-flopped.
Yep.
So let's go into some of the numbers. And I know you said, obviously, that the main benefit of this is that you're able to retain members, keep them happier, which obviously improves morale and culture within the company and the gym, because the members notice when people aren't showing up, or if it's always new people in the class, and that almost makes it seem like that's normal here and it's okay to quit, And but when it's the same people over and over, you feel like you're quitting on members. Mm-hmm. So it's really great to have that retention stay high. But the other value, the additional value, is increasing your profits,
Absolutely.
right? And being able to get more revenue. So if you ask the average member, let's say they're charging $99 a month, right? Okay. Typical number. But if they're charging $99 a month, hey, how would you like to increase your membership by $15 a month and know nobody's going to cancel? They'd be like, that would be amazing.
Amazing.
But I don't know how we're going to do that. I feel like if I just jump up my price to $115 right now, we're going to have people cancel.
Sure.
Right? And so the thing is, you don't have to raise your membership price. You can sell more things. At the gyms that I go to, because I go to a few, I always spend more in random things while I'm there. Whether it's a gym lock, whether it's for my locker, whether it's smoothies, whether it's a shirt, or whatever the case is, right?
Sure.
Supplements. And so let's pretend these numbers, and Sam, I'd like you to put these on the screen here so people that are watching can visually see it as well. And for those that are listening, I'm going to go nice and slow because I want you to see how this math really works out. It's pretty awesome. So let's say you charge $99 a month and you want to get your numbers or your membership fee to be $115 per month. Really, it doesn't mean you need to charge $115 per month for your membership now. It just means you want to get there somehow. So now, Zach, you were saying, let's take 300 members,
okay.
Right? We have 300 members, which is pretty common for fitness studios. How many people in the U.S., you were giving me some stats here, are buying supplements, whether it be multivitamin, vitamin C, vitamin D, whatever? How many are buying in America?
Currently, the stats show that 8 out of 10 Americans are buying supplements of some sort, whether that's a multivitamin, protein powder, a bar, a shake. It could be vitamin C, or it could even be caffeine.
Got it. Okay, so 8 out of 10 of these 300, so 80% of these 300 are already buying supplements. Yep. Now, let's say a third of them are going to actually start buying from you. Okay. Right? Let's say even though 8 out of 10 are buying them, let's say you can't get all of them to buy from you. They're still going to buy from High Health and GNC or whatever. But let's say you get a third of them, just get them while it's conveniently there from you, and you're already talking to them about what they should get and why this is a good one, right? Because if you have a supplement line in your gym, it's because you believe in that supplement line. Sure. You shouldn't get a supplement line you don't believe in.
Absolutely.
So if you believe in it, why aren't you recommending it anyway and getting in front of them? Okay, but so let's say only a third, instead of 8 out of 10, buy from you. Now, what does the average American spend on supplements?
They spend between $50 is a good number to use, some up to $75, but $50.
Okay. And that goes, again, from multi to vitamin C to creatine to protein shakes and bars and all that stuff, right?
And take one thing into account with that $50, because that's the number we're going to use. It's 8 out of 10 of Americans spend about $50. But in the realm of training, it's way higher.
Because these people are focused on fitness.
Yeah, my son, my 14-year-old goes to the studio with me. He's on a protein powder. He's on one called First String. I'm on whey protein.
So this 8 out of 10 is including the woman that hasn't worked out in 2 years.
Yes.
That is eating potato chips on her couch.
Yes.
Okay. So right now, let's say you get $50. Let's call it bare minimum anyway, just to be like totally conservative and not say 80, 90, which is what the average person that's committed to health is maybe spending, right? So a third of 300 members is 100 members, meaning let's say we can get 100 members to start spending just $50 a month with us, right?
Yeah.
That basically equals an extra $5,000 a month in revenue.
Yes.
Right? Now, let's say at $99 a month, at 300 members, you're just a tad under $30,000 a month in revenue. You just added 16% by adding an extra $5,000 in revenue with these supplements, which is an extra $16 per month. You add that $16 per month to the $99 per month, you're now getting $115 per member. And did you have to raise your membership price?
No.
All you had to do is give them what you know they're getting anyway.
Yeah.
And you're giving them the ones that you most believe in and recommend anyway.
Yep.
And you're having a conversation around it, which is important because why? Why is it important to have these conversations anyway? What did you just talk about?
Well, you talk about retention of your member. You talk about results of your member. And realistically, supplements is one of the scariest industries in the fitness business because of the DOSHA Act. There's no regulations on supplementation. So using a company like .fit that has third-party testing, everything that we do is all evidence-based. It's designed for personal trainers and platforms, and we give them a platform to use. Everything about our company is to synchronize ourselves with the studio or the gym owner that focuses on one thing that we all need. We need a buddy referral. I need you to bring your friends, right? And so thinking about how to do that, it all comes through retention and getting them results. And so your nutrition and .fit or supplementation is just part of your nutrition play. Now you're starting to get people better results. You're starting to hold them more accountable. And when all of those things happening, now you're starting to see husbands, wives, friends, families come in because you're giving better results. What I find with studio owners is 90% of the studio owners I meet got into the business because they love people and they want to serve people. If that's true, then you really have to look at nutrition as being one of the number one ways that we serve people, not just in the workouts. And if that is true, and I come to your gym and I say, hey, Mike, I want to lose 15 pounds, you know that you have to create a caloric deficit. Well, what comes along with a caloric deficit? A nutrient deficit, a nutritional deficiency, and sometimes we call it insufficiency, not a deficiency. So here's the thing: is I come to your gym, I come to Kelly's gym. He's training me hard, wonderful, wonderful trainer, and he makes recommendations for me to eat less and move more. So now I'm going to drive my car further with less gas.
Right.
We would find it. I know this might be a tad bit on the stretch, but I would find it highly irresponsible for a trainer to not say, I'm training you this much and you're only eating this many calories, macronutrients. I really need you to take this drink post-workout or get the whey protein that you need, or at least a multivitamin in the morning. Because you as the professional are the one saying, hey, eat less food. Hey, take in less nutrients. Eat less protein, fats, carbohydrates, right?
And they're going to go anyway.
Yes.
Even if you don't say take supplements, they're going to go get supplements.
Absolutely.
Anyway, right? And so that's the main thing. So I wanted, obviously, there's things that we just talked about with supplementation. Felicia Romero, who was on the last episode as well, give you guys an example. One of the things that we recommended to her as well was take a big tin, those tin buckets of, you usually put ice and water in it. They're about this big. For those of you that are listening, sorry, I guess it's about a bear hug size. I don't know. And but basically fill it up with ice. You get those bags of ice, fill it up with ice, and put waters in there, and use the decoy effect. So put those little dinky water bottles that nobody ever wants. You get them from like real estate agents and stuff. They're like this big. So sell those for $2.25. No one's gonna pay for that. No one should.
No.
And then you sell a nice bottle of Fiji water or something a little bigger for $2.50. And then maybe like a workout drink, like a post-workout or during workout drink for $2.50. So really the $2.25 exists simply to make the $2.50 look better.
Absolutely.
And you guys can check out, Sam, if you want to put the link to the video that they can learn more about the decoy effect, that would be great on YouTube. I have that one as well. But the funny thing is, she said, well, we sell waters already. And yeah, we do sell waters, but they're like in that little cooler in the corner. Yeah. So she put it out, and on a Saturday, where it's half the amount of people, half the amount of classes, she ended up selling $87 worth of water.
Wow.
Of water, with a margin of like $80, right? Now, that's on a low day. That's a Saturday. Now, you take that, and let's say the average ends up being $90 or $100 a day, every day for 30 days, you basically are just adding now an extra, $3,000?
It's rent.
It's rent.
Yeah.
Right. So $3,000 there, $5,000 here.
Yeah.
Let's say $2,000 or $3,000 in some bars. And let's say you sell some shirts. Little by little, your $99 membership model just turned into like $159 a month.
Absolutely.
And you're giving people what they actually want and what they need, and you're having conversations around the right things.
And the most important thing that I found in all of my studios, and I love that you just said that, is that if and when there's a conscious decision to a non-user or a non-results person or somebody that says, I just want to quit, or I get my statement in the mail, all I'm going to see is $99. You need to make sure, and I would advise the studios to do this as well. Do not lump their ancillary purchases into their monthly fee. you want them to see that low price of $99.
The one they initially were cool with.
The one they were initially cool with.
Right.
So if there's ever a discussion when they come back and say later, hey, I feel like I'm spending too much, let's print out your report and say, your membership's only $99. A great job on that, we'll high five there. And they're looking at maybe they're spending other things.
But we'd say,
elsewhere.
these are like waters and stuff. Would you spend that anywhere else anyway?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
And then here we spent like $60 on supplements. Would you have gotten supplements at High Health anyway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, great. So really, we just spent more here, but we
Yes.
would have spent this anyway. It's
The reason why I make this note is there's a local gym here that allows you to have a gym tab. And on that gym tab, I was one of the people that got a bill for $100 and something. Well, my two sons go to the gym, and they felt that they got to go get shakes every day.
because it was free.
Because
it feels free.
It feels free to my 14 and 12-year-old, if you're watching.
We're in trouble.
So I got my bill, but they never separated out the monthly fees for the 3 memberships and then the tab. And so initially I drove straight to the club going, man, there's a mistake on my bill, right? Which we want to avoid. And it's really not. I really only pay $36 for the membership.
Right.
So
They're like, no, your son just.
so I would highly
smoothie
advise
a day
that
for
if you do
$8.
have a gym tab, that you're running those separate. Your EFT's automated, that's running by itself, and then your gym tab is running once a month or something like that, or collecting every time you run.
Cool. So for that first part of this episode, guys, I hope what you got out of it more than anything else was that it's great to be able to find ways to sell things that people already want and already will buy somewhere else. Do that already in your gym to members that already like and trust you and are comfortable giving money to you. Okay, that's very important because you're going to make other people profitable because they're getting it anyway. Make yourself profitable, grow your business so you can improve your experience at your gym, because the more money you make, the better trainers you can have. The easier it is to improve the space anytime you need improvements. The better it is for you to bring in higher quality shirts if that's something you're going to do, a higher quality food and stuff like that. Have events. There's so many things you could do with money, right? Mm-hmm. Once you have more money, it's like your options open up. It's pretty weird, right?
Yeah.
So now that we have that out of the way, there's a couple things I do want to talk with you about while I have you here, because I've learned so much from you. And let's talk about the biggest challenges that studios will face in the future. There's a question I had. What are some of the best ways to secure your brand versus the upcoming challenges?
So one of the things I find as I do consulting or as I actually work with clubs is that a lot of gym owners or let's say studio owners have decided to take their business from where they were a personal trainer, they were training somewhere else, and now they have launched into their own entrepreneur business, which is amazing. I love it. The challenge with that is I would ask, do you have your SOPs set up? What is an SOP, right? An SOP is, what are your standing operating procedures? Meaning, not only are you the only person that can operate the business, but do you have procedures, meaning the staff that works at the front desk, your personal trainers, do they have operating procedures? Because what I'm finding as I get out to the clubs is if I say, hey, the phone is ringing, how do I take a TI, right? What are the steps to taking a TI?
For those that don't know TI?
Telephone inquiry.
Got it.
So one of the things that the question really was about, what are the things that are going to kind of affect you in the future? And number one, this is one that I would use right here. This is a manual. This is our studio manual. If I was going to go launch a studio, which I fly up to Canada on Friday to go launch 4 studios, we're going to bring our manual and I'm going to train and develop everything out of this manual. So every single employee can literally execute on those plays. We run what we call a 9-play system, and it comes all the way from hiring, training, and developing. We'll give them the interview practices to driving guests. How do we drive guests? Inside out, which is buddy referral program, which is 70 to 80% of our marketing, and then outside in, which is you guys, right? Is hiring the right team to be alongside of us to drive me the guests. Play 3 is touring those guests and closing those guests and getting them involved in what we do. And then what does my service play behind that look like? I think one of the biggest challenges that you guys need to prepare for are already here and they're already coming. They're just not very good yet, but they're going to get a lot better. And that is, every large gym is starting to realize that they need a boutique studio, and they are starting to implement boutique studios inside their organizations. And so as the future, kind of like boutiques took a really and delivered a powerful punch to the large gyms, right? And think about our market. From our front door, we could probably walk to 15 to 18 studios, and I would say most of them are extremely good trainers. They're good at what they do.
They love what they do.
They love what they do, and they are good at training. But are they good at answering the phone? Are they good at the tour? Are you good at doing your social media, right?
Well, and really quick, I want to make sure we clarify on that too. So there's really, most people are answering the phone not wrong, right? So when you answer the phone, hey, thanks for calling Pure Fitness. How can I help you? That's not wrong.
Sure.
There's just a better way to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for calling Pure Fitness. This is Mike speaking. May I ask your name, please? Okay, what do we got right now? We got their name. My name's Jane. Hey, Jane, how are you today? Now, I'm leading the conversation because I initially asked the question, right?
Sure.
She may be wanting to say the first thing out of her mouth, yeah, what do you guys charge for memberships? But she can't, because what's the first thing she has to say? Her name. Now I'm leading the call. Hey, Jane, really quick, just in case, like you said, we're very busy at the front desk. What's a good phone number in case we get disconnected? Now I got your phone number. Awesome. Thanks so much for that, Jane. Jane, are you a member here? Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, okay, great. How'd you hear about us? Now I get the lead source, right? This is all the process, but most people don't do all this. And here's the thing, just like your clients, nutrition, everyone knows kind of what to do.
Yeah.
Everyone knows don't eat burgers, don't eat pizza, eat more vegetables, drink more water. They
Apple
all get
Twinkie,
that.
right? Apple Twinkie.
Right. Everyone gets the general concept, but everyone doesn't do it. And yet they want the results because they feel like they want it. So same thing. Everyone knows they should ask those questions, but what happens is they become reactive on the phone. Mm-hmm. Thanks for calling Pure Fitness. How can I help you? Yeah, what do you guys charge for prices? Yeah, well, they range. Are you a member here? And now I'm not answering their question, which is frustrating to the caller. Mm-hmm. And now it creates this weird vibe of I just can't get a straight answer from the guy. Right? So there's a right way to answer the phone, and there's better ways to answer the phone. And so you're not doing it wrong. I don't want you guys think we're saying, yeah, you're messing up. I'm saying you're losing out on opportunities.
Yeah.
Right?
And your whole goal with each one of these plays and each one of these SOPs we call standing up, every one of them has what we call begin with the end in mind. We read a book, 7 Highly Habit Successful People, and what he basically said was, hey, begin with the end in mind. What do you want to happen if somebody calls you? If somebody calls my club, you know what I want? I want a booked appointment, ideally in the next hour to 2 hours.
And all their information.
And all their information, so I can follow up with that lead that was generated, right? And most people will say it costs us about $20 to $75 a range to get that phone to ring. I don't know, depending on how we market it, how you got me that guest, but that guest cost me something.
Right.
So the way that my clubs or my studios think about it is every time that phone rings and we don't get that information, I don't get your name, your phone number, is the membership just for you? Have you been a member before? If I don't get that, it's just like literally driving down the street and throwing $75 out the window.
Well, and we actually have a video in our learning center about it where we break that down. So let's say your average cost per lead is $5 as an example. And let's say you're able to book 1 out of every 2 leads. Well, that means your average book is worth $10. It costs you $10, right?
Sure.
And let's say your average show is 50%. Okay, well, so that means your average show is worth $20, right? Mm-hmm. And so little by little, if you start applying costs to each part of your process, you look at it very differently. You treat that book demo very differently.
Yeah.
You treat that show demo very differently. You treat that referral very differently. But when it's just like, oh, cool, somebody called.
Yeah.
It's very, very different.
Yep.
So let me give you guys an example of something that makes it look easy. You take Jordan, right? Jordan made it look easy towards the end of his career. He made a fadeaway jumper with a guy in his face look real simple. So then you take McDonald's, right? McDonald's is referenced very often in the book E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And it's mentioned as a great system. Now, obviously, people watching this show are probably not huge McDonald's fans, but you don't have to be a fan of the food and the quality of food, but you have to be a fan of the system. Because think about what's more difficult to run, your fitness studio or their restaurant. Now, right now, you're probably thinking, well, my restaurant, right? It's easy because it seems like McDonald's being ran by kids. You got 16-year-olds talking to thousands of people every day. You got 18-year-olds managing the place, literally managing it and getting licensed and all that stuff. But you have high heat fryers going with grease and oil. You have many different food products that can expire at all different times. You have customers that can be irate because at 1,000, it's easy to get a good 100 that were pissed off that day, right? And you have so many different opportunities. You have things to clean. The floors get filthy. The restrooms. There's a lot going on with that much traffic. But the reason it's running so effectively is because McDonald's isn't ran by people. It's ran by a system, and people run the system. So now think about your fitness studio. Do you need to have the best trainers? Do you need to have the best salespeople? Do you need to have this? Or can you have a great system that would allow you to develop people that want to be great and then build a business around that? People we've hired here at Loud Rumor, Sam, who's making this entire show. If you guys think this show is awesome, Sam, how old are you?
23.
23 years old. Started with us at 22. First real job, right? Right? But the thing is, we didn't say, hey, Sam, figure it out. It's like, hey, Sam, these are the things we want to do. We had talks about the GSD show. We had talks about the system, and Sam has a system that he follows. And if, let's say, we need to add a second video person, is that person set up for success? Is there systems and screen recordings on how to do everything you do? That's how you do it.
Absolutely.
Right? And I don't care if you're McDonald's, if you're an agency, or if you're a fitness studio. Business is a business. You have to have a system that allows you to be able to add more members, replace members. If Sam decides he just wants to move to Japan for 10 years because he's on a passion trip, right? Don't ever do that, Sam.
But I think your request got denied just now.
It's not denied, but it's parade. It doesn't happen. But we at least have the ability to build a business and continue to grow it.
Yeah.
What would you say are just like one or two common mistakes, especially with the show process? I'd love you to share the example you gave of the fitness studio you just went to go work out in, because that I think is a huge mistake.
I'll give you an example, and if it's okay with you, I'll walk through that example. I was going to shop a company here in town. They asked me to do that.
Which I do this often too and had the same experience. So it's great. This isn't like a one-time thing.
No.
He's experienced it many times, and so have I. This is one example of many.
And the owner asked me to do this, okay? So it wasn't like me just doing this. The owner asked me for feedback. So I called the club and said, what time is this group training class going on? And I'd like a busy one personally, because I like the energy. I like it fun, and it helps to motivate me right now. So that person said 9:30 or 8:30. They did ask if I was a member, and I said, great, I'd like to come to the 9:30. And she said, great, see you at 9:30.
Oh, wait, what happened so she said, are you a member? What'd you say?
I said, no, I was not a member. I was just going to come down and try the class. I got referred from a friend.
And then she just said, great, I'll see you at 9:30.
Great, I'll see you at 9:30.
And that was it?
That was it.
Does she know your name?
No.
Does she know your phone number?
She does not know my name.
How you heard about it?
No.
And keep in mind,
especially when she said buddy referral, I said my friend referred me as well.
So she could have even asked, who is it?
Absolutely.
So think about that, guys. And just so you know, that's one of many that he's experienced. I've done the same thing with shopping different studios. This is how many of them are running. Now, some of you guys may be saying, oh, that's not how mine runs. Well, maybe it doesn't run when you're in charge of that whole communication, but how does it run when you're not in charge of it? If you have other people that are taking calls, you may want to see if shopping is a good idea for yourself.
Well, and it also depends on what your ultimate goal is. Is your ultimate goal to run that studio for the rest of your life as you being the mechanic that makes the thing go? Or is your goal to kind of step away? Because I know when I was running my studio, which is literally a block from you, I worked 80 hours a week. And my goal was to have 5 to 10 studios and to work 20 to 30 hours a week and to be the orchestrator behind my business, not the guy going in at 5 o'clock in the morning teaching the first class and teaching the last class at 8 p.m. So it also comes to what is your goals? What is it that you want to accomplish? So after this TI, I showed up. I waited at the front desk for help. There was a couple people that were not paying attention. They were on cell phones, or one was on a computer. And so I saw class was starting to organize, so I just walked by the front desk and I walked right into class. So as we stop and pause to this, like if we're in football and we throw a flag, oh my gosh, member, non-member, no interaction, no experience with any management, no PAR-Q, no medical questionnaire.
PAR-Q, go through PAR-Q.
No liability. The PAR-Q is literally where you sit down with a human, as an assessment, and you ask them, is your heart okay? Are your knees okay? Are you good? Good.
So you sign right here? You could have a heart attack in this class.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Which would have been extremely liable for that company.
Right.
So none of that. And I just walked on through. Now, once again, I always preference to say this is the worst case scenario as well. but it did happen. And so, and I know it happened at my studio too. So I wouldn't pretend that it didn't. I walked into class. The instructor had a very big personality and really didn't know me at all, but embarrassed me. And I'm not easy to get embarrassed, actually, to tell you the truth. I'm really easygoing, but the way that she introduced me to the other 14 people that were in class was a little too much for me personally. I would have rather had a little bit more of an intimate conversation with your name.
Introduce you as the guy that got his ass kicked at the turkey bowl.
Maybe she talked to Mike before I went in. Yeah.
So then that introduction, and then what happened at the end when it was time to leave?
And the workout, music way too loud. You can't coach and you can't train if they can't hear. And the members were frustrated as well. And the other advice that I would give is that this member or this trainer worked out with the class for at least 60 to 70% of the time. So when you think about a studio, and if it's not Group X studio, if it's a Group X studio, that might be part of it. But when we're Olympic lifting, in my studios, I would ask that my trainers are training, not...
You were Olympic lifting and didn't get a Part Q?
No. So at the end of this workout, the music stopped. The class instructor said, "We're done. Have a great Easter weekend."
And that was it. You walked right out.
I didn't actually know what to do, so I grabbed my water. I took a few drinks of water, waiting for a salesperson to approach, and then I started making my way to the door. And then I text messaged the owner of the company and said, "Please do not hate me when I write my review, but I'd like to talk to you in person about it." And that's what we're going to do. And like I said, there's times that doesn't happen. There's been audits that I've done or shops that I've done on the complete opposite side. But one of the things that he had asked me to do is, can you help me? Can you help me to learn why my classes aren't growing? Well, there was actually 6 guests in that class. 6 guests. So 6 people walk out afterwards. And
not members.
Non-members.
Yes.
6 non-members walked out after class without a presentation, without even a bad one. Hey, do you want to join? I mean, it could be, doesn't have to be the greatest.
If you just asked that, you would get more people signed up.
Yeah. Dumb Luck Sales says...
Well, because you take people like my wife, which most people are like my wife, a little bit more passive, doesn't want to be in the spotlight. She's going to feel uncomfortable saying, "Hey, how do I join?" So she's going to walk out because she's going to think that's the process.
Yep.
Okay, so... What we learned a lot in here, obviously, how to get additional revenue, and the example he just gave was, obviously worst case on all ends scenario. But you guys may be making mistakes here on one of those pieces or 2 of those pieces, or maybe it's your employees. Really make sure you get it defined. And here's the best way to think about it. I want you to imagine you're going to sell your business. Now, you don't have to sell it. If you plan on building 50 of these or just keeping this one for the rest of your life, it doesn't matter. I want you to imagine that you're building a prototype for the next 50 you want to build or for one that you want to sell. And now, how do you make that one that you want to sell the most valuable? Chances are you're going to want it to make the most money, right? Because if it makes more money, the buyer will spend more money to get that business. You have best retention rate, meaning your customer service is great, in and out, your whole intro, all that stuff. You have employees that are treating the company with an ownership type attitude, right? And everything's got a system and a flow. No one's winging it.
Right.
Everything's not up here. Because if you're going to buy a business and everyone's got everything up here, then I can't buy it without all of you guys working here still. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to buy it and the owner leave. Mm-hmm. That's the way I want it, but it has to have a system for that.
Sure.
So build a business at all times like you're going to sell it. And you don't have to. But the cool thing is, if you get it to the highest value possible, that's the business you own, and you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not a bad deal. So, great episode.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Hope you guys got a lot of value out of today. If you guys aren't already subscribed, make sure you do. I can't wait to see you guys next week. We have some more great episodes lined up. Zach, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Take care, guys. See you next time. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.